Thank you very much, Chairman Timmons. I appreciate this discussion. I appreciate the invitation for you and all members of the subcommittee, because this is a really important issue for us. Following your remarks, I will introduce myself. My name is Jorge. I'm from Venezuela, and my entire life I have been working to bring back rule of law, economic freedom, and democracy to Venezuela. And when trying to understand this process, I really understood that financial access is at the core of democratic progress, is at the core of what a free society really means. Why? Because if you don't have financial tools, if you don't have access to digital assets or bank accounts or any sort of financial instrument, you cannot be part of society, especially in today's world. And I started working on this because I realized that it's an extremely underreported issue, but globally, most people have extreme levels of financial repression. If you are somebody born in New York or in Washington, I'm pretty sure you don't know many people without a bank account. But if you are somebody from a country like mine, Venezuela, most of our citizens, business people, think tank leaders, NGOs don't have bank accounts, and for many years have been experiencing severe levels of financial repression. If it's not for the creation of digital assets, stablecoin and Bitcoin, hundreds of millions of people around the world will not be able to sustain their families right now. That's the value of digital assets. In Venezuela, again, all of our civil society is unbanked because of the levels of repression. In Venezuela, we have been experiencing financial repression since the early 2000s. Since 2003, we have been experiencing exchange controls, in which the government had the monopoly and the arbitrary monopoly of giving people access to dollars. Since 2013, we have been experiencing the highest inflation rate of any country in the world. And since 2017, we have been experiencing hyperinflation, meaning that our inflation rate has been over 50% per month. We mark 4 years of hyperinflation, making us the longest hyperinflation period of any country without war. And this is happening not because of a war, it's happening because of bad public finances and mismanagement of our economy. This context really collapsed the finances of our people, from their ability to transact to their lifetime savings. All of it was gone. Our poverty rate in 2012, for example, was roughly 29%. Then went up to 81% in 2024. Extreme poverty rose from 8% to 50% in the same period. And this despite the fact that during the Chavez administration, we received $1 trillion in oil revenues and $200 billion in foreign debt. All this money was laundered, all this money gone from our economy. As a result of these desperate measures, these desperate conditions, people start using, first of all, dollars. So the economy became de facto dollarized in Venezuela. People just forgot to use bolivars. And at the beginning, they were using cash. But then they realized that they could use digital assets. They could use stable coins. They could use Bitcoin. To the point that right now, over 60% of people in Venezuela use digital assets for their transactions. And this is despite the fact that the Venezuelan government, to this day, continues to block the full adoption of digital assets in Venezuela by imposing more financial controls at the point of retail purchase. On top of these economic damages in places like mine, you need to always remember that internationally, 75% of people live in authoritarian regimes. That means that over 6 billion people live in financial systems where their financial system can be weaponized against them for political control, for censorship, to silence them. And this number of 75% comes from the Human Rights Foundation. In all these places, your accounts can be frozen at any minute. They can be frozen for no explanation. In all these places, these regimes, they say that a nonprofit or an activist or a business person, they blame them of money laundering charges, and what happens is that they are able to block their account. At the same time, their financial privacy is also weaponized in order to understand who are their suppliers, who are their donors, etc. So many nonprofits who receive money from the US end up being in prison in authoritarian countries. To finish my remarks, I have 3 recommendations. So first of all, the US State Department should integrate and systematize the use of Bitcoin peer-to-peer strategies in their effort to support civil society in places like Venezuela, because the banking system is not arriving to places like my country. The second one, the US Treasury should improve its guidance to financial institutions when it comes to clearly offering, reduce the compliance uncertainties, enabling American foundations to have lower compliance costs when supporting a nonprofit or civil society in general in authoritarian places. And the third, both the State Department and the Treasury, they should create a fusion cell in which they include the element of national financial security to its foreign policy doctrine, because they need to include and promote the defense of people's financial freedom and financial inclusion, which is really part of people's overall democratic freedoms.